Yeah,
Um,
because
we find out that Betty is Puck's sister.
which I found that out and I was like, oh, they're sisters. But then I was thinking about it. I was like,
How?
that too. And then like when they first met, she was like, oh, this kitty, or like I like to play with the kitty. Like how do you go from that notion to all of a sudden y'all brothers and sisters? Like
Well,
what?
maybe she just likes messing with him. You know what I mean? Like maybe we see weird
Um,
brother and sister relationships in anime. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the shop Herbal Synergy. It's me, your boy, the herbal of the Herbal Synergy, Irby. And with me, my very lovely co-host, Synergy, Synergy for short. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, great! Oh, fucking fantastic!
Yeah, you sound very crazy over there.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's a fantastic intro. We should do that more often.
Nah, that's a one-time deal.
Oh, whatever.
A one-night stand, if you will.
Oh god. What's going on, Irby? How you doing, man?
Living large and in charge today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you got a
not too
charger? Is that
bad.
what you're telling me?
Nah, I ain't balling like that.
Oh, okay. My
Unless you
bad.
talking about one of my new Apple chargers. Might have to get me one of them's.
You know, I feel that society is taking technology a little too far because my phone does not have a phone jack, a headphone jack.
Yeah. Well, technically, they do, but you got to make it with accessories for it. But hey,
Well,
speaking of
I
technology,
think you have
there's
an
self.
iPhone. I don't have an iPhone.
Yeah, well, they're like that with everyone. My other phone didn't have a headphone jack either. I had to buy an adapter.
Wow, that's super inconvenient. They're forcing the earbuds.
Yeah, the wireless.
Yeah,
But
which I use mine all day at work. I just use one
mm,
at a time. So if one ear starts hurting, I just go to the other ear.
yeah. But speaking of technology, I did read an article about self-replicating robots.
Nah, fuck that, dog. I read that too, and I'm not with it.
Shoot.
Why are we trying
Yep.
to recreate
Nanobot technology.
why were you trying to recreate iRobot and like movies like that where like robots can reproduce and have a mind of their own and eventually take over the world because they're gonna realize we're inferior but they're serving us.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Mm.
This world was just asked. You know what? Just if I ever get rich, I want to live on my own private island, away from the possible dangers this species has could possibly put us in.
Shoot. Aren't you rich with love?
I think I'm a little louder than
Nah,
you. Let me go a
nah,
little down here,
nah, you ain't
and sure, rich with love. Why not?
lies.
We're
You don't
yeah.
have no capacity for that.
What? You got a flavor this week, bro?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic. Let's hear it.
uh I liked how my boy Megami, he he basically was like, she's like, say you'll protect me. He's like, oh, so you're like one of them, the trash one who cares more about words than the deeds. I was like, dang. It's
Yo,
true because a
he
lot of
buried
people,
her.
yeah, a lot of people would rather hear you say, oh, I love you, instead of showing you that you love them. Or they'd
She
be
had
like,
a very because she was an attractive looking girl in the last couple chapters, but then she kind
yeah,
of like reminded me of Subaru right there, where like you noticeably became ugly, like your personality became your face.
yeah,
I was like, oh, she's got an ugly personality, and her face is matching right now.
yeah.
And my
So I
man
was like,
Megami just called her out on it.
yeah. I was like, dang. But that whole Meg Me fighting stuff, yeah, we'll get more to that later. But yeah, your flavor.
I don't know if I have one, but I will say that every time, and it's sad because he's done. Sorry if my volume is going up and down, guys. Just trying to match Irby Onisan.
Nah, dog. Don't need a match. Be yourself.
But then he does that and he talks a little lower, and I don't know what to do. Um, I really enjoy Pedo Goose's voice acting.
Mm.
Like, I don't know, man. There not a lot of dubbed voice actors put in the amount of spectacular effort that Japanese people put into their sub episodes. But Pedo Goose, that voice actor was hitting the right notes.
I think he's the voice actor for someone else too. I can't think of the name.
I mean, I'll look it up. What do we want to talk about first? We
Uh,
finished the first season of ReZero, and we finished Uramichi. Um, we're one chapter away from catching up to Jojen, and we read Jujutsu, and then you got Tower of God.
yeah. So let's get cracking at Jujutsu since it's one chapter. So basically, this one, Megami's still talking. The fight's still going on, and you meet two people. Inori Hanazuki. I guess he's like an exploding man. They could explode his body parts, his curse technique. And some other person, Reggie Starr, has 41 points. And then Megami proves that they didn't care about her at all. They're just like, oh, I'll just use you to for my own ends and means. So he just like see what they're doing. Like they blew him up and her up, and he like saved her with the door. And then this is when my flavor of the week came in.
Mm.
So you already know that. You heard that earlier. So Megami here's a rule that has been added, and then he proceeds to be like, "Oh, I don't have to worry about killing y'all anymore." And and instead of holding back, he just like lets loose on them. So he drops an elephant on homeboy, and he stabs another guy, and then he ends up earning 5 points. Yeah, and then some other guy comes back in, they spit a tooth at Megami, and uh, Fumahiko Takuba shows up and he blocks the hit. He's like, 2-1 isn't fair. Let's even up the odds, that old spiel. So that's how it goes.
Yeah, the fucking loser showed up out of nowhere. I don't even know who the hell that is.
He looks cool though. I
Uh,
give him that.
oh my god. Okay, alright, so I'm just gonna note some of the. I'm just gonna mention the notable, like the more popular animes that Betelgeuse was also voice acting for. His name is Todd Michael Habercorn. And I know I haven't watched it yet, but I know a certain scientific railgun is popular. He was they didn't mention the character in there, but he was also Marlowe from Attack on Titan. Baki is pretty popular. He's Rio, student boy in episode 7. Black Butler, he's Alistair Chandler in Black Butler. He's Natsu Dragneel in Fairy Tale. Uh, he's also in Black Clover and Bleach.
Yeah, he's the kick guy, and then he's the scientist guy in Bleach.
And let me see, Fate Stay Night. Irby. He's an assassin in Fate Stay Night.
Yeah, I recognize him, but I couldn't place him. So
Yeah, he's this. One of the reasons I don't like dubbed anime, like watching it sometimes, is like I don't like recognizing voices. I don't like feeling like, cause I mean, some people are different. Like actors, you know how some actors like Will Smith and I can't name all on the top of my head, but like they 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 can play different roles. Like they're very versatile actors.
Yeah, it's like that in Sub 2. I recognize some voices. I'm like, oh, you played that
Um,
roaming warrior person that I just can't put them place them together at different times.
yeah. So like, I feel like some voice actors are like regular actors, where like some of them like they play the same role all the time, like, cause that's what they're good at. It's fine. But like, if you're not, which this guy I said already on the record, fantastic. But
Mm,
if you're not a very versatile voice actor and you're playing the same character all the time, like they're all gonna seem like the same kind of character. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's not gonna be fun for me to listen to if I recognize like, oh, this is also Krillin, this is also fucking Gray, this is also this guy, and they all act the fucking same.
yeah,
Betelgeuse was acting the fucking same way for the last fucking 2 3 weeks, and each time he just fucking like I found myself happy to see him whenever I thought he was dead. I was like, oh my god, he's still alive. He's still fucking crazy,
I was like, this motherfucker's here still alive. Mm,
and he's nuts.
yeah,
But yeah, that was my little tidbit on that. You want to talk about Tower of God?
yeah. I could talk about that real quick.
Sure.
All one episodes that I've read.
Stop.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Tell me what episode it is. I wanna
It's season 2, chapters 207 to 213.
207 to
So
213. Go ahead.
yeah, so my man Aneta gives Rack a compliment for surviving all his attacks. And then the cavalry arrives. It's Yeon and the swordsman. And then they flip to Hats talking with Ishu. And they're talking about how they're like, I can't believe Bam just went his separate ways or he didn't want to help us. And he's like, well, they had to draw a line somewhere. It wasn't much that they didn't want help. It's just that they couldn't because they had their own goals. And then he says it's their fault. So
Yeah, he
he
realized
also
that it
says,
was a bad thing to do.
yeah, he was like, it's also their fault. And he says, we didn't ask Bam for help. We asked VO for help. So says that there are Bam's friends, but they're not VO's friends. And then my man Rack says, flamethrower turtle shows up. And then Aneta blocks her flame with the sword. And then my man Aneta goes off and knocks the sword out of the swordsman's hand. And then he takes it and he uses it, the ignition weapon, on the first try. I was like, man. And then the whole crew goes down. And then Bam has a sullen moment where he contemplates his choice. He's like, maybe I was too harsh. And then he was like, he thought he was someone like a god that could make everyone happy. And he would like to do that and make everyone's come true. And then comes like, isn't it just better to be human? It doesn't look much fun like a god living for other people. And he's like, if you just want to save someone, just save someone. So that's how it goes. And then Aneta goes and speaks with the Kaiser. He wants to keep Rack as a servant. He says no, they're going up for auction. Uh, and she wants Bam's name and to defeat the princess. It turns out Kaiser isn't even the ruler of the place, which we'll get to in a later chapter. And they go to the battle area and learn that Rack and the others were taken, and the auctions have rankers and people that buy people are their properties. So, and Aneta's skills, he's been there for 100 years, and his skills are only acknowledged by the Kaiser out of all the 10 bosses. So then the festival preparations start, and they move around. There's going to be 8 ships coming to the island, and there's select candidates that will do battle on the island. Basically, they're going to make the people that got captured fight to prove their worth. And if you're able, you'll fight the Kaiser. And then the Kaiser puts out this announcement that Juvio Grace will be fighting a princess, a jihad princess, which leads you to believe that he's going to be fighting in Dorsey.
Mm-hmm.
But that happens, and so the items are for sale are his teammates, and if he doesn't fight, then they get killed or disposed of. And then Bam Teacher shows up at the end, which was a cool moment. They're like, sir, you can't smoke here. He's like, smoke. He's like, this is just a sucker. So,
I like that Bam's
uh,
friends kind of got him to quit,
yeah,
sort of.
yeah. We find out that it's mostly a ploy to distract from the fact that the no name people have turned in there. And then the rest of the group discuss ways to infiltrate the auction. One to go for the Kaiser, and the other to find the targets. And then we find that there was actually a floating island that was actually hidden, but they just made it seem. And my boy Kun has a fresh cut, and we find out that there will be some type of cooperation between Endorsi's group and Bam's group, but they're going to, it's kind of like one of those symbiotic things where, like, oh, if my interest lines your interest at this moment, then it'll be all right. So,
Which is kind of how it have to
but
be
Endorsi
because
would,
like
yeah.
there was no communication on like. All right, so like when they first separated, back when Rachel was still part of the crew, Kun and Shibisu, although are on separate groups, were still communicating with each other, which means they had a means of communication. Now I don't know if the train interfered with that, but at some point, like they showed no initiative to try to even see if it was an okay thing for them to do and use Vio's name to their advantage. It was kind of just like, hey, let's use Bam, who's been being used for the last 2 years and is just finally breaking out from those chains.
Yeah, see that's why Kun was like, no, we can't help you because this is what we needed to do. And he was kind of like, you kind of got yourselves into that mess. So,
Now you gotta get yourself out.
yeah, it's like one of those ones where if you would have asked or said something before then, they might have helped her get the name, and then they would have told what's her name that there's another way for you. We need another way to get up the tower. Is what I kind of feel like because Bam's hard to say no sometimes, especially when it's a friend, because he's feeling bad that he couldn't save and Dorsey or give her what she wanted.
But he also wants to go into the place that Dorsey doesn't want. I forget what's it called, but it's a dangerous area.
Yeah, the floor of hell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, so then yeah, there was talk about Dorsey will defeat Bam if she has to, and her team will go defeat the bosses they have to. And then Isu reminds Dorsey that this is all her fault during the situation when she's like, "Oh, I should just fight Bam." But it is her fault because she went off half cocked and was like, "Yeah, I'll defeat this Kaiser," and then got got clapped. So
Yeah, I mean, she probably could have if she had more information, but like you can't be going at someone who controls a floor without knowing what their abilities are. Like, come on, Dorsey, fuck you
like
doing?
even if I was a prince, I wouldn't have did that. Cause I'd be like, "Oh, this person had a whole floor for 1,000 years. Something off." And you want to take, and it's a floor with the only conditions where you can't leave if someone takes your name. It's not like you could fight and then lose and go lick your wounds, but no. But anyhow, so yeah, and then they run across Yukon, the toxic waste human, and Bam's like, "Oh, can you point me to the corridor?" after this man was talking all this trash about VO and this, that, and the other, and was like, "Yeah, I could get him," and da 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 da. So that happens, and yeah, so they start talking. Bam says he's not in a good mood because of what they did to his friends, plus the people on the slave trade and stuff. Yeah, the whole floor of the slave trade. And so my man Bam one shots him like bam. He says he does that after the guy's like, "How dare you talk to me like that? You lowly whatever." Da da da. Gets clapped. And then he gives him a little monologue. He's like, "I'm not a god, so I make mistakes, and my actions can not always be just." And he's like, "So I may able to say this is may not be able to say this is the right thing to do, but he is certain of one thing that like he has a right to be angry." And then so the guy gets up, he does a little toxic attack, Kun blocks the acid attack, and Bam uses bangs and shoots off his toxic little thing in his back that dispenses the acid or whatever. Yeah, and then Bam takes his name, and they're like, "Oh, Juvio Grace has made contact," and everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's Jew!" So yeah,
Oh
and
man.
this is the funny part where he's like, he tells him about the corridor, and he's like, "Oh, I won't take your name," but like he threatens like, "Oh, well, maybe the guy you were stepping on, maybe he'll like to take your name for this because he doesn't really want the name." But yeah, he goes in there. So then we flash to Rand's group and teammates. They're going to get the hostages, and it's a whole fake path and all of this stuff, and they have to jump down this big old tube. And then Anetta is tracking them, the Rand's group. Then Rand runs off to fight him. So my man Rand's fighting them. This is also might have been my flavor of the week too. But he starts blocking his swords with his bare hands. I'm like, man, Rand's kind of strong. And then you flash back to a young Rand, and then they tell him when you're fighting a member of the Arya family, don't dodge the sword, but withstand the attacks of the Arya. And he has a strong body. And then we also find that he's part of the direct line, a direct descendant, meets real close to the head.
Mm-hmm.
So then he withstands the attack, and then like knock he hits Anetta, knocks him back, and Gigi and the fast guy came up. They came back to help, and Arya's like, "Oh, you came out of you appeared out of my field of sensory." Like he didn't sense them, so then we flash back to the room where Alphine, the lady that they were trying to get him to the gallery, and they had to prove to her that they can release Kaiser from her restraint for 1,000 years. Then we launched into the backstory of Kaiser, how she's part of the she's the head of the place, but it's really the Lo Po Bia family that runs the place.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
do feel bad for Kaiser after you get to her backstory. I don't know if you got through it.
I don't feel bad for her at all.
Damn.
She is what she is. But anyhow, so yeah, she wasn't in the direct line, but she's a genius. I feel like that 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 kind of detail, like direct lines, that I feel like you're all family, immediate family, So that's like a new wrinkle they threw in there.
Well, it's I think each household has their own like Adam and Eve thing going on.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. But anyhow, so then we find out her family is an anima family, and there's 20 branches, and she's part of the Grey Wolf. And then there was an incident in which she fell in love with a boy
Mm-hmm.
she saw at this thing. There was a match or something that she wasn't supposed to go to, but she somehow still made it to attend it. And then she ran away with love, and she wanted to live a normal life and fall in love with the boy. But it was all a trap. They trapped her. You sprung my trap card.
It was
But
all a
then,
dream.
yeah, and then so they test. It was all so to test her to see was she really suited to be a jihad princess. And then so she wasn't. So her special punishment was to be a regular that came up to the slave trade station, and she was to run it. And somehow she got there, and then she made it real quick that everything's under her control.
And made it she did, bro.
She did so. And then Alphine became a regular to serve her. It came up, and then she found out that her debt hasn't decreased, and basically her family's playing with the money and just doing all sorts of stuff, not doing what they're supposed to with it. So they keep her in limbo basically because it's a cash cow. So, and then Lelia, she reveals herself to Dorsey, and they start fighting. And then the plan was like, oh, we're not fighting. You're not fighting Bam. He's like, it says a jihad princess, so I'm gonna fight Bam. So I was like, dang. Mm-mm-mm. So so then Dorsey and Lelia fight, and Lelia tells her sister that they're going to steal her companions' names and get them to tell them the deal between her and Bam. And then my man Yukon gets eaten by the shadow fox that Alphine summoned in the room. And so Kun kind of he figures out that the fox is trapped in a bank, and the bank is the whole room. So he basically came up with this harebrained plan where Bam was going to absorb the Senshu in the room and essentially move it somewhere else, and that's where the fox would go. So they did that, and it happened there, and yeah, they proved to Alphon that they're capable of removing the burden from Kaiser.
Con is
So
smart, man.
he is. I like Khan. He's one of my favorite characters. Yeah,
I feel like Tower God is gonna make your flavor next week. If we
it
don't do the
could.
tournament, I don't know if you guys want to do the tournament next week.
It's Christmas next week.
Then a week after.
We gotta might be taking a hiatus.
Remind me to wish everyone a happy holidays.
Maybe.
Or you know what? Maybe you'll do the outro this week.
Nah. But
is,
yeah.
is that where you left off?
Yeah, that's where I stopped because it seemed like an apt place to stop. Because I feel like it's gonna heat up.
Yeah, I think it's making your flavor next time.
You don't know. I could watch something different on Uramichi. I might rewatch it and come up with a different flavor. Yeah, so that's the way the cookie crumbles. Tower God was heating up. I did have a thought, but the thought lost my mind. Oh yeah, that guy that she fell in love with kind of looks like Bam. You think that was like the 2024th? No, not 24th. You want to say
Shut
that's
the
like
fuck up, bro. Shut
like the
up.
fourth
Stop.
Bam
Stop. Stop.
1,000 years ago?
No. I don't. No more. No more. Let's just move on. You fucking.
He did he not look like him though?
No, not to me.
Just a little bit. You couldn't see his face, but the hairstyle, I was like, okay, kind of looks like Bam.
Oh my god. Stop.
What if it was Bam? Maybe that's why they want to get Bam. I
Stop.
don't know.
No, stop.
Shoot.
Um, let's do life lessons with Urumichi.
Oh yeah. So which one is this? Oh yeah. So the fateful encounter. So my man Iramichi hurts his neck. And this was all my flavor of the week too. When he was like, when you get older, you can no longer be sure what's going on with your body parts. So basically, his neck hurt, and like he told the kids like when you get old, like you basically start breaking down. And for this part, this episode, they
Yeah.
shot a they shot a look both ways kind of deal, teaching kids across the street.
Yeah, but they lost the footage and had to reshoot
Yeah,
it. And my man Ramichi is just listening to the whole conversation. And the director throw a fit, and he's just like, "Fuck, fuck, 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 fuck."
yeah. He's like, my neck is already hurt, so then they were talking too, and then he meets the merchandising man, and he's like, "Do fun jobs even exist?" And I'm like, "Man, I felt that." Like sometimes do you be working a job, or do the job be working you?
You gotta make your job fun.
Yeah,
It's all about the
and
people you
then
do it with.
yeah, but you don't always get to choose your coworkers.
No, you don't.
Yeah. So what else got me? This part got me too. Was like his ex said she wanted to break up and not have kids and be single for forever or something. And then time goes by and she has a kid and she wants him to get the kid on the show. I'm like, man,
Yo, I thought he was gonna say that his ex ended up with the guy who quit the band and became a comedian.
yeah, that part was wild too. The whole thing's just wild.
Oh my
So
god, man.
yeah, so I was like, man,
Bro, the songs in this show have a very obvious depressing tone to them.
they do, but it's like they're still catchy.
Yeah, and then yeah, I feel like Bear Guy has shown the most character growth because he's slowly transitioned into the biggest troll in his fucking show.
Yeah. Oh, and then another part I had too was that segment where they asked them what did they want to be when they grow up, and he tells the kids, "The longer you hold on to a dream, uh, the heavier it gets."
And some
I'm
people
like,
can hold on to it, and others feel at ease when they let it go. And it's just like,
yeah,
I don't know if he's okay.
yeah. And then they did the song where, "Why do sample taste better in the store than to do at home?" or something. And yeah, so and they kind of they were talking about hobbies, and apparently Uramichi was getting dolls and dresses, and Umalkun kind of knew that was for his niece, but he didn't say anything.
That's what I'm saying. He's like a fucking troll, bro. He's just letting
Yeah.
people assume shit, and he's the one who told him to get the doll.
I mean, well, it's true though, because if Uramichi wanted them to know, he would have said something. And if they wanted to know on the same hand, they would just be like, "Hey, I saw you getting dolls. Who are they for?"
Nah, Malcolm is doing this shit on purpose because the next two episodes, he let my man
He did,
think that Uramichi was leaving the show,
yeah.
and I was like, watch it be like he's going to a different gym, and
I knew it was something he was. I thought he was either gonna quit smoking or
I thought it was smoking too, but then like the way they were talking about it, I was like, he's probably going to a different gym.
yeah. I was like, it's something he's leaving somewhere to go somewhere else. But I don't think he's quitting the show because the show is the only thing that gives him hope and um life purpose.
Bro, but they really tried to make the second to last episode very emotional.
They did. They were building for it. But yeah, it's pretty much
And then the last episode was just a whole bunch of quote unquote final episode duds.
yeah. But yeah, this the episode Awkward Smiles really just a story how all they met, and they only meet because his dorm was being renovated and he needed another place, and the one roommate they had moved out. So so yeah, the ladies love Ermichi, and then a storm hits and the building collapses, and so he can't really move, so he's stuck with there longer. And then we find out Kumatani loves cats. He builds them a little shelter, and then my man Usahara doesn't know how to use crutches.
And it's actually been He's been looking up to Uramichi for quite some time.
Yeah. And we found out Kumatani was also a childhood delinquent until his brother was like, "Hey, we should do a club together,
I
or you
actually
do a
love that.
club."
It's like my man belonged to Tokyo Revengers. What the fuck he doing here?
That's what I was thinking about. I was like, my man was beating up kids.
He's
I
in
was
the
like,
wrong fucking
nah.
show.
Yeah.
You know
Hmm.
what? He gives me older Chifu right vibes.
Yeah. I was like, man, because he always quiet and stuff. So last episode, together with my mom forever. Uh, Usakun, he has a farewell dream party, and then all turns out that his gym's shutting down and Iramichi's going elsewhere. And then Iramichi's tasked to help with new ideas, and he runs and he hides behind the bear, Umalkun, Usalkun. And they go out for drinks. And then my man Iramichi's being stalked by the guy.
Yeah.
And they come up with the Bonjour man. And then,
The
eh,
kid, the kid was like,
yeah.
"How come it's always you who has to dress up like that?" My man was like, "I wonder that too. I'll die in peace if I ever find out."
Yeah. I was like, man.
And they
But
couldn't do
yeah.
this segment without laughing. We were like, "Please stop looking at me."
Yeah, I was thinking how the whole show is like it does great allegories, where it kind of it's based in all sorts of hidden meaning and like life lessons where like sometimes you feel like giving up, but you got to keep pushing through, or like things aren't always as they appear, and it just had great little lessons here and there watching it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was like, I enjoyed it. Hidden meanings, stuff that you don't, as a kid, you don't realize, but as an adult, you're like, this is what they were trying to tell to me in this moment that you don't even know.
Better than Gintama.
It sure is. The time was terrible. But yeah, I also had the yeah, all the little hijinks. That was funny. But my man, uh, Usao Kun picking up the handkerchief that belonged to that lady, and he's like, ladies, would you like to go out with me?" And they're like, "Oh, this is so and so's handkerchief." And she comes around the corner. I was like, man, they got
I
him
thought
good.
she was gonna kiss him.
I did too. I was like, oh, she got him hook, line, and sinker, baby. I was devastated. But yeah, it's good.
The false proposal.
Yeah, all that stuff. I was like, man, like she was getting hopes up. She's like, "We're getting married." I was like, "Who proposes over the phone?"
Hey, listen, I've seen worse.
I mean, people break up over text all the time.
Yeah, might as well get married over it.
Nah, I ain't for to do that.
You right.
But yeah, so that was it.
So
Sad to see it go.
on to my thoughts about Chojin X. It feels comparing it to Tokyo Ghoul, it feels rushed. It feels like you know, even though I read like 70 panels, um, 1 through 70 didn't really tell much. Like you could have read the first 5 and then the last 5 and got everything in between.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's the same stick and spiel.
Yeah, they were just like,
You watch enough stuff to know like how this should go.
no, because like my man Tokyo, he's just there's no prep at all. He's just like fucking with the snake lady. He just went full beastification after like seeing it done with this sinker guy. What's his name? I wrote it down, but
Shiozaki
yeah, well Shiozaki. He was just like, oh, let me do the what's the thing when they do the neck thing? What's it called?
Rays.
Yeah, let me do the raise too. I was like, what do you mean that you do the raise too? What the fuck is? What? What?
that
Do you
that's why I
understand what
was
a training period is?
yeah, the man worse than Luffy.
What happened to guys? We have time skips for this shit. If you don't want
Yeah.
to animate or draw my man working hard, do like a fucking 6 month time skip and just like note that like he was training for months and improved a little.
Yeah.
We can't just go like from fucking I depend on Azuma to Ultra Instinct Goku over here with like I can make this work.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess the fighting starts and Ellie she's gonna lead Shiozaki away.
Oh my
So
god.
so Tokio can get out the hole. And my man pulls out his gum gum rocket and hits Shiozaki. And then everyone else comes to help. So it's not really much in that. Yeah. And then they do a flashback where they talk about the big game and my man Kaguruma has a bone. He broke his arm, bone sticking on his arm, and then this is when they talk about, oh, I'm gonna raise myself. Like
He
what?
slit his own throat.
You say what?
It looked like he slit his own throat.
Yeah, I was like, my man, Shimpoku out here. And then so Shiozaki escapes, and L gives chase, and she's like, yeah, I hate people who create hassle and liars and vending machine filters and somehow my man Tokio hears a voice and no one else hears it. So I'm like, okay, you're back on Zoe Island here. But
Shouldn't
yeah,
Tokyo be able to fly?
that's why I don't think he's in full beastification because he has no wings.
So you agree he should be able to fly, right?
Yeah, vultures should be able to fly.
I'm glad we're on the same page there.
Yeah, because I feel like he's like quarter beastification because he has like all of the most of the physical attributes, but he doesn't have wings.
And I think his neck stretched.
Yeah, I don't even think he has claws.
But like this is another thing I was talking about. Ellie said that she hates people like Shiozaki, but then like with no context, with no like sympathetic words, she's just like, we have to save him. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Maybe she was just saying that stuff to hope that he changes his ways.
I don't know,
But
man.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to
Then
me, to me, right now, Children X to me feels like something with the potential to be great, but it's missing the mark. Which, I'm not even gonna blame like noviceism noviceism on that because like the creator of this made a very successful manga called Tokyo Ghoul.
maybe he's just going for a different dynamic, trying something different.
It could be.
Yeah. But yeah, my man, apparently Tokyo studied the sinker that Shiozaki threw when he was in school, and he decides to hit the sinker, and Shiozaki catches it, and Tokyo sinks in the ground, and L tries to dig him out, and Shiozaki also sinks because he caught it. And then they do an investigation, find more syringes, and then Yamata Mori keeper Ichiro Sato says some stuff, and then they have this creature of the tower of kindling flames.
Yeah, I think it was creepy as hell.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, the breath of my my beast." I was like, "Oh, okay, this guy's weird." But I guess that's the creator of all Chojins. It's what I feel like it is.
Yeah, I guess so. All I know is my
Something.
man had two hands for a head.
Yeah, it was weird, but it worked. So yeah, there's that. And now on to the final grand baby.
Okay, I love ReZero. ReZero, like after we're done, I'm gonna buy all the manga and read it and see if the manga is any different from the show because like this show never ceases to amaze me
Yeah.
with the plot twists and like the questions and like it just confuses me and then there's Betelgeuse being Betelgeuse and I'm just like, oh my god, it's so good. I even made a note and I was just like, I'm just gonna stop writing mines because like how the fuck do I top this?
Yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
But everyone is still gone, and there's a plant attacking Subaru while he's being ignored by the dragon thingy. And Subaru starts using his head. He's like, "There's no way it would ignore me because it likes me, which means this isn't real, and that's a plant. Like that's not a harmful plant." And then like we found out that it was Rom putting them in an illusion, I believe.
Yeah.
And Rom thought that Subaru betrayed them because they sent a letter to Amelia, but it was a blank letter, and that basically means that when you send a blank letter to someone, I'm gonna start sending these to people, is that you have nothing of value or there's nothing to say to them, and they took it as
Yeah.
declaration of war.
Yeah, or switching allegiances too.
So I was like, yo, yo. And then Subaru was just like, no, no, it's a misunderstanding. And Rom's just like, oh, so you're still a dog, but you're still Amelia's dog. Okay. I was like, what?
Yeah. Drug him through the mud.
He's like, Rom, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
So they get after they situate Subaru's false betrayal. I thought it got resolved too easily, and then Felix was there to keep Subaru on like the straight path. Like it seems like he always needs someone to give him the proper push.
Yeah, I did. I was like, oh, Felix. I thought they were having trying to have a moment in the wagon. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
And
and then
then
like we found out that there was like well before that we found out that Petra was worried about Amelia because the village kept denying her because Amelia wanted to help the village and evacuate them, either get them away or get them all into the castle, and they all shot her away because she's a half elf, which
yeah.
pissed off Subaru, but Felix kept him straight and just like, hey, listen, that's not gonna help right
Don't,
now.
yeah, don't
These
hang your hand if you're doing what you feel is right.
Yeah, and then like um it turns out they had a cult member disguised as one of the merchants the whole time, so he blew up the cart. Felix saved Subaru, and it turned into war. They started killing people off, and
Technically, Julius saved Subaru.
yeah, technically Julius did.
Yeah.
But at some point, Betelgeuse seemed like he turned German. I'm like, this man turned to like a Nazi. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
He sounded weird. And then like when they thought it was all said and done, Subaru felt weird and then ran away. Amelia was ended up being the one who finished off Betelgeuse because she showed up and started fighting the cult members with everyone. And right when Subaru was about to approach Betelgeuse, no, Amelia, I'm sorry, he ran away because he felt something strange, and the spirit that Julius gave him to protect him disappeared. And Betelgeuse takes control of Subaru, and I'm just like, how, 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 how did he do that?
How you
Where's the
do that
context?
like that?
Where is the context? And I still have no context. Is it just because he is loved by the witch?
They get into it later.
And then like Subaru kind of tries to keep control of his mind. Julius and Felix is there, and he's like, kill him. But I'm like, killing you is not gonna solve the problem. And then like Felix, even though Felix was crying about it, which I thought was kind of interesting that like she cares about him, he cares about him.
He knows he cares about him.
It's hard to look at Felix as a fucking guy, man. The
Yeah.
way he acts. But like cats do act like that, which it actually makes a lot of sense for his character. He actually does have a lot of cat qualities. It's just like just affectionate, uh, affectionate
Yeah.
pet. But Felix was crying, but like Felix did kill him, and I'm just like, where is he gonna get sent back to? Did we have to kill the whale again?
Yeah.
But then it was like it got to the check. The checkpoint was right after they killed the
The
whale.
battle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was just like, all right, that's fair. That's a fair checkpoint. And then like Subaru, he sits down and he like without any fucking context, he's just like, "Hey, I have new information." All right, how do you have new information, Subaru? You haven't left their fucking side.
Yeah. I do find it strange that they just took it so easily.
They took it. I think they took it at face not because they trust him per se, but because he hasn't been wrong yet.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about.
So like, and then we kind of get into like the little Amelia side of things, and like she kind of it kind of shows her having like a little bit of a Naruto lifestyle. Like
Yeah.
everyone compares her to this witch demon, so like they avoid her like the plague. Even though all she wants is their acceptance, or at least not to be hated by them. And we get a very so Wilhelm shows up with explaining the letter and how it's blank, but it's a misunderstanding. Amelia is listening to him and their plan, but she's kind of like on the fence. And Subaru takes a direct, indirect approach by wearing the cloak that we later find out is the same cloak Amelia used in the village so that people wouldn't recognize her. But then it raised the question for me. It was like, if that's the same cloak and other people knew it was Subaru, how didn't she not at least recognize the cloak?
I think the the thing like he put it on when they saw him, so it's kind of like like you know how you play peekaboo with a
Mm-hmm.
little baby, like you don't go anywhere, but like your hands are there, they think you're gone, so it's kind of like that illusion.
I just think it was weird that like Amelia didn't at least recognize the cloak, the one that she's been using to go into the village.
It's probably like the effect of the white fog if you're not like
Aware of it.
yeah,
Okay. All right, we'll go with that because that's the only way to make sense to me.
yeah,
Um,
because
we find out that Betty is Puck's sister.
which I found that out and I was like, oh, they're sisters, but then I was thinking about it, I was like
How?
that too, and then like when they first met, she was like, "Oh, this kitty," or like, "I like to play with the kitty." Like how do you go from that notion to all of a sudden y'all brothers and sisters? Like,
Well,
what?
maybe she just likes messing with him. You know what I mean? Like maybe we see
Or
weird brother and sister relationships in anime. Okay.
or maybe it's like Subaru broke the curse that she didn't know, or something. I don't know. It's I was like, what?
It's really weird, yeah. I'm just like, what the fuck? Because Puck drops the little sister like it was nothing. Like it was nothing.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, my sister here to protect the castle. I'm like, oh,
It's just so
who else is there?
fucking
And then
weird. Because like, if you don't pay attention to this show, you'll miss something really fucking important.
yeah,
So, where was I? Puck drops the sister bomb, and like, I'm just like, yeah, that's where I decide like I should hang the towel on my script. It's like, what the fuck is going on, bro? It's just like
yeah.
this person is way more creative than me.
No, dog, you can't give up on your dream. It's not too heavy yet.
And then like I didn't think Subaru's disguise was full of Amelia, but like it did. Petra knew it was Subaru, so maybe that's where your theory came up, and like they saw him put it on, so they knew it was him. And then
Yeah.
like then we go into battle. I'm just like, so what's the plan for saving Subaru? But we go into battle, and he has, and now I'm questioning this. Like we flash back to how he convinced the villagers to leave, and they're like, "You've never let us down." It's like, what the fuck do you guys mean? It hasn't been that long. He's been to this village a few times.
Yeah.
How has he never let you down? How has he built so much trust in this village? Because every time he dies, he goes back in time. Therefore, the trust he built up is gone. It's like, why? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean, he did save all the kids from the Malbys.
But that's it. That's it. And like, granted, that should be a pretty good reason to put your trust in someone. But like, is it enough to say you've never let us down before?
Yeah.
So, um, that's when I questioned the time frame in the show because I was like, what I thought was a few days could have been a couple months, but I don't know. I can't tell. And then the Green Merchant guy shows up, and I'm just like, nah, I don't even trust this guy. He's shown a dark side of him.
I didn't either.
I don't even trust this motherfucker. And then just when I thought Betelgeuse was less entertaining the second time Subaru approached him, he just comes on and puts on a show. It was just like, I fucking love this voice actor. And like, and then he's chasing Subaru because the plan is to face Betelgeuse, where Subaru, I guess, first decided to kill himself. So he's chasing Betelgeuse, but like every time I saw Betelgeuse use the hands, it looked like they were coming from his back, but all of a sudden he was flying on the hands and I didn't know where they were coming from.
Yeah.
And the way he was sitting on the hands made it look so funny when the little cat, um, the little kids, the animal kids, twins, brothers and sisters, and they looked up and it was like, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But so I was wondering that, and then I think this isn't important, but I'm gonna note it. Like I thought I saw a sloth fighting the sloth's Betelgeuse's men, and I just thought that was kind of funny. It was just like,
Yeah.
oh, they have a sloth on their side against the slothsin.
Mm-mm-mm.
And so like once they lead Betelgeuse to the area, Subaru reveals his plan on how his weakness is also Subaru's weakness. And I didn't really understand how he came to spirits being his weakness, but I know how he came up to Betelgeuse's weakness, but I don't know how spirits is his own weakness. But like, what we learned that Subaru knows how to use his head. Like he's using Julius' shared sense to fight Betelgeuse, and Julius calls Subaru his friend, even though he knows that Subaru hates him.
They kind of mended fences here and there.
Yeah, even though Subaru just won't stop saying, "I hate your guts."
Yeah.
So then we
Yeah.
go back to Amelia, and Wilhelm is talking to her, and it's like, "Hey, you can't help me because you have to stay here and help them." And he kind of makes the comments like, "Your eyes remind me of your servant's eyes." And Amelia thinks of Subaru, and she tries to thank him, but my man already left.
Yeah. Man, love with the swiftness.
And again, we go to Betelgeuse, and he's just killing his fucking role. And I'm just like, I need to find out who this actor is and watch more stuff that they do in dub, just to hear how he handles each role. And
Yeah.
I'm over here waiting for an actual plot twist because, you know, Merchant Man is losing it and Betelgeuse is back. So they're fighting, and Betelgeuse, they finally kill Betelgeuse after all the teamwork, and and I'm sure you and everyone watching this thought Betelgeuse went into Subaru's consciousness body, whatever. Where Subaru was just like, You want to see the witch? All right, here she is. And then he does, I can return by death, blah, blah, blah. And the witch kind of like slaps the shit out of him and he leaves the body immediately. And Subaru's like, you left after one time? Like, bruh, let's not act like you weren't
Yeah,
freaking the fuck out.
she's like, "You're not the one I want," and pushes him out.
And then Subaru's actually like, oh, you're done after one time? Like, let's not pretend you weren't freaking the fuck out, okay? Because, like, the first couple of times, you didn't even know what was going on. The After that, you were scared shitless. It's not like you have a choice to go in any other body other than your own. But no, my man's
Yeah,
talking shit. Um, and then like, but they finally deal with Betelgeuse, and then I'm drawing a blank on like how this actually pertains, but like they meet up with like Felix and them and just like, hey, these magic stones or something are missing and they could explode, which what happened last episode. They
yeah.
exploded, and that's how like we ended up doing this over again. So at what point? At what point did Subaru? You're gonna have to refresh my memory here. Or did Subaru already tell Amelia by this point that he loved her, or was it after he grabbed the stones?
After you grab the stones.
Okay, yeah. So he goes with Merchant Dude, and Merchant Dude's like, if you do me a favor, I know how to get there faster because apparently he's like in one with the nature and animals.
Yeah,
So they're speeding through the forest, and here comes Betelgeuse, fucking looking dead and crazed. Love him. Can't believe he's gone. A little sad.
he had to
And,
go.
and he's chasing them, and Subaru's doing all these what should look like effort, like a waste of effort, but like it works out for him. I don't really know what he did to him in the end to make him disappear like that, but if you can explain that to me.
I think he was already half dying because he just kind of was like on fire. It's kind of like when you know a soul's already leaving, but it still refuses to leave because it feels like it has unfinished business. So it kind of was dying, but he'd had enough power to struggle on, I guess. And then he
Mm-hmm.
just like punched him out the carriage.
So we finally done with Betelgeuse. Subaru catches up with Amelia's cart. He grabs the stones and he's about to run away, and she's like, "No, Subaru!" And then he's like, "It's cause." He's like, "Why are you doing this?" And it's like, "Cause I love you." And then he hops on the dragon, and then he throws the dragon in the whale's body that was under the tree, and it blows up. And the poor dragon wrapped Subaru's body to protect him and got hurt. And Amelia is running to Subaru's aid, and she sees him. She's helping him. I was like, okay, but like he's fine. Can we check on the dragon, please?
Yeah.
Can we check on a poor dragon? So this is when Amelia, she lays him on her lap. He wakes up, and they have a moment, and he's like, he was using her an excuse, but it was really for him, and like he does want to do all those things for her, and she's like, why? It's because he loves her, and like you kind of saw the roles reverse here. Like this was kind of like what happened with Rem and Subaru a few episodes back, but now it was Amelia and Subaru, and like Subaru was on the Rem side while Amelia was on the Subaru side. And it's like you can come up with 10 reasons why you hate yourself, and I'll come up with 2,000 on why I think you're the best fucking thing in this world.
Yeah,
And
he used Rem's line. I was like, wow, the nerve.
I know it was just like
The nerve.
it was like he was killing the moment for me. I was just like, you're such a fucking piece of shit, Subaru.
I was like, the nerve.
And like Amelia, she's overwhelmed. She's like, is it okay to be happy? And he's like, yeah. And then hopefully in time you'll fall for me, and I'll catch you. And I'm just like,
Talk about copy and paste.
I know, and I'm like, if she falls for you. But like, it was nice. I think it was a great ending to a season. But like, Subaru is a fucking piece of shit, bro.
He was.
Poor Rem. I feel for her. She's just recuperating, probably worried as shit about him and only him. And he's over here using what she said to him on Amelia.
Yeah. I was like, really? That's what you do?
Well,
Mm-mm-mm.
that was pretty much it for this week, though.
Yeah, it was.
Ugh.
Mm-mm-mm.
Irby, you want to hit us with an outro?
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Herbal Synergy Podcast. Uh, Looking forward to y'all listeners. Like us, review us, give us 5 stars. And stay safe. Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever you're celebrating.
All the holidays. Happy all the
Uh,
holidays.
all the holidays. And look forward to giving you some new content next week or after the week.
Yeah, we're probably most likely gonna be taking a break next week. So guys, sorry, and we'll see you the week after. Peace.
Peace.